In the early 2000s, reality shows became very popular. People wanted to see what happened behind the scenes, how their favorite celebrities live. They wanted to get more footage about what happened behind the scenes. So the concept took over. It worked for the entertainment industry and reality shows became bigger and popular. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, bands were created under the service. You had different A&Rs who was looking for talent out there. Also, they used media like television, radio or newspapers to let singers and talents know we are looking for new groups or new singers out there. Over the years, it started to shift. The development of technology started to change everything in the whole world. And that included also the music industry. Back then, singers recorded a lot of demos to find maybe a good producer or someone who is connected in the industry to hand it to them so they can possibly be discovered from a huge record label who can invest money in them to become the next big thing in the music industry. Back then, most of us had a completely false conception about the music industry. We all thought when you sign a huge record label, your life will change forever. We didn't know better. We thought if you see someone on TV, this person's automatically rich or a millionaire. And that's the devilish part of this music industry. From the outside, it looks very nice and very beautiful, but on the inside, it's so much dirt. A lot of managers, labels, business people use your ignorance to steal money from you and to benefit from your talent. I'm not talking about the beginning stages of a music career, because in the beginning it's a risk for a record label to sign you and to invest money into an artist. You need to recoup the money to reinvest. As a new artist, you cannot demand a lot of money because nobody knows you. And to be very honest, nobody know at that time if your career will really pop off. So many young new artists come into this industry unprepared, and that's the keyword. A lot of TV producers realize that it will make sense to document the beginning of a music career, to see the act fighting for his dream, become a worldwide superstar, to sell records worldwide, and then to make other youngins realize, oh, I want to be a part of that show too, because it changed the life of the last winner. She was a girl or a typical boy like me, and she or he made it, so I can make it too. It's like a snowball system. Making the Band started in the early 2000s on ABC. Lou Pearlman, who was at that time a well-known manager and businessman, was looking for the next big boy band. He already worked at that time with the Backstreet Boys, with Ed Sing and other groups which have become very successful in the music industry. After auditions, recalls and different rounds, he finally created the boy band O-Town with 5 members. Making the Band 1 had 3 seasons, and later on the panel switched from ABC to MTV. O-Town was a pop band who had huge success with their first album, with the first single. With the second album they had less promotion, they started to face challenges from the music industry, and the media was hard on them because they came from a reality show and they didn't believe in their careers and individual talents. O-Town was a pop group. The first season of Making the Band was more pop oriented. In the early 2000s, the genres R&B and hip-hop were on a whole different level. At that time, those genres became pop. Everybody wanted to be black. Everybody wanted to look like black people, to sing like black people, to listen to black people's music. White girls wanted to wear cornrows and braids to become the next Alicia Keys. Some girls tried to become Ashanti. White groups started to sing like Destiny's Child. White boys was happy to see Eminem be embraced by the black culture. So every white boy wanted to become Eminem. So MTV started to realize we need to shift this whole show and make it more urban, hip-hop, R&B stylish. In other words, they tried to make the show more black. And they replaced Lou Pearlman with Puff Daddy. At that time, Puff was the man in the music industry. Everybody wanted to work with him. So it was a smart business move from MTV. With Making the Band 2, the show became bigger and more international. This time around, they were looking for a group with different talents: rappers, singers, reggae singers, soul singers, R&B singers, pop singers. With the second season of the show, they had tremendous talented contestant on that show. After he challenged the contestant for weeks, put them on competition, made them write songs, made them better against each other, he decided finally to create the band, The Band, with Dylan Dellinger, Sarah Stokes, Babes Bunny, Chopper, Inez, and Freddie P. A really talented band, but also in the same time a chaotic group. Always fussing, always fighting. They had so many arguments, and at the same time the business was not working as it should. The debut album Too Hard for TV charted on number 2 on the US Billboard charts and was certified gold. They filmed 3 seasons of Making the Band 2. On the last episode, Diddy decided to drop the group. He just wanted to keep Babs and Inez. To my understanding, he wanted them to become a hip-hop duo, but it never worked out. Making the Band 3 started in 2005. This time around, Diddy wanted to create the next big international superstar group. Not just a group, but a girl group. Thousands of girls auditioned for that. I need to correct myself. He wanted to create the group in 2004. After auditions, months of hard work, workshops, dance rehearsals, live performances, Diddy decided on the final of Making the Band 3 Season 1 that there will not be any band. He couldn't create a band out of the 7 last girls who were there in the competition. Because in the first round of Making the Band 3 Season 1, he had more pop girls, Latino girls, more the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera girls, Jennifer Lopez. You didn't really had Kelly Rowlands or Ashanti. There were more white girls, Latino girls, mixed girls. So he decided to create Making the Band 3 Season 2 to find new girls for his new international girl group. Diddy saw the most consistency and improvement in Malika, Andrea and Aubrey, so he decided to take them with him on the next season. Making the Band 3 Season 2 started in 2005. This time around, the competition started to become heavier because the girls they brought in had a new energy and they were really talented, even more talented than the girls they had before there. So it made Aubrey, Malika and Andrea realize they had to fight much harder than before. After auditions, boot camps, competition, battles, tears, sweat, arguments, Diddy finally decided to put a 5-member girl group together with Aubrey O'Day, Juanita Wajek, better known as The Woods, Shannon Banks, Dawn Richard and Andrea Fibrous. The group became a huge success. Even the label didn't expect them to blow up like that. They recorded 2 back-to-back #1 albums. Their first album was their self-titled album and the second album was Welcome to the Dollhouse. Also they had huge hits like Damage and Showstopper. Making the Band 3 had 3 seasons and after the 3rd season they moved on to Making the Band 4. Making the Band 4 started in 2007. This time around Diddy was looking for the next big boy group. As usual, thousands of people auditioned for the show and Diddy challenged the boys. He made them sweat, he made them fight, he made them sing their faces off, dance like it's their last time, and at the end of the day he created a 5-member group with Q, Willie, Robert Carey, Big Mike and Brian. Donnie Klang was a contestant on the show but he didn't make it into the group, so Diddy decided to give him a solo deal. In Making the Band 4 Season 2, Diddy brought Danity Kane, Day 26 and Donnie Klang together to record their albums. That was the season where you saw how the girls and the boys started to connect with each other, started to build friendships and family type of vibes with each other, but at the same time they were working on their albums. Making the Band 4 Season 3 aired in 2008. This time around they focused more on the preparation for the tour. After they released their album on the last season, they wanted to promote it with their own tour. Danity Kane was the headliner of the tour and Day 26 and Donnie Klang were the openers. The first half of the season was more about preparation, about rehearsals, about the tour. The second half of the show started to become like a mix between the real world, Jersey Shore and a little bit of Making the Band. The producers were taking away what made the show so special because most people was tuning in because they wanted to see them sing, wanted to see them dance, wanted to see what happened behind the scenes of the music industry. The rehearsals, the recordings, of course a little bit of their personal lives, but not too much. The second half of this season was not that interesting, and on top of that, Diddy kicked D-Woods and Aubrey out of Danity Kane at the season finale. It was really unexpected and a lot of fans didn't understand it. In 2009, Making the Band 4 Season 4 came back. This time around, the boys wanted to record their second album. Donnie Klang was unsure about his future on Bad Boys because he released his first album. It didn't hit. His album, Just a Rolling Stone, charted on the Billboard 200 charts on number 19, which is not bad because he was a new artist, but Bad Boys expected more from him. I never felt that album. I think they could invest much more time on Donnie's sound, on Donnie's music, but it felt like he was a leftover. He was really talented, but he needed more time and he needed the right producers which understood his sound. So in this season he was really scared because he didn't know what's next. At the same time, Danity Kane were fearing too because they didn't know what's next for them. D-Woods was not anymore there, Aubrey was not there, and this time Shannon didn't come back too. So it was just Dawn and Andrea. Making the Band 4 Season 4 was so unnecessary, and it was the last season they filmed for the Making the Band franchise. You can tell that Danity Kane was really important for the brand. To be very honest, Danity Kane became the face of this franchise. D-Woods, Dawn, Andrea, Shannon and Aubrey. During this season you saw the boys fighting a lot. They tried to record an album but they were fussing and fighting all the time. Andrea and Dawn, they were struggling to find out what's next with the group, what's next with a money situation, what's next with our careers, asking themselves all the time, will there ever be a DK5 moment ever again? Donnie Klang was unsure about his future on Bad Boys. It was just a horrible season. And to be very honest, Day 26 was not able to carry the whole show. Without DK it was impossible. After that season we never saw Making the Band again. And it's sad because Making the Band has a lot of fans. A lot of people loved the show, were supporting the show, and it helped a lot of people to dream bigger. But the sad part of that is almost all of the band members who were there on that shows never made it big. If you compare Making the Band with shows like The Real World, with the Jersey shows and other shows on MTV, those cast members are making a lot of money and they don't even have half of the talents that those groups had. They're getting endorsement deals, they're getting publishing deals, they're getting so many different things. Even MTV, they are bringing all the shows back from the 90s, early 2000s. Why they don't bring Making the Band back? They wanted to bring Making the Band back in 2021, I think. They wanted to cast new talents and create a new group, but for what? Because let's be very honest, till this day, people want answers about things that happened in the past, and we don't have exactly the answers that we need to understand what happened. Making the Band 2, he created a great band and then they disbanded. He dropped them for no reason. Making the Band 3, Danity Kane, the most successful band in the Making the Band history. And we all know if Danity Kane would have recorded the third album, they would have the third #1 album. I don't want to be disrespectful towards the other bands, but Danity Kane had the it factor. They had the potential to become internationally the biggest act on Bad Boys. And compared to the other groups, no disrespect, they had the hardest work ethic out of all of the Making the Band bands. There were no reason to break them up, even though they had some arguments and some problems into the group, but that was not that big to say, okay, they cannot work together. It was just something that they needed a mediator to bring peace and sisterhood into the group. And that's it. The biggest problem that Danity Kane had was the business. I think all the groups had the problem. They needed to figure this thing out. Making the Band 4, Day 26, the future of R&B. They all could sing, different voices. Every one of them brought something different to the table. In 2008, they released their first self-titled self-titled album, which shot straight to #1. In 2009, they released their second album, Forever in the Day. It shot straight to #2 on the Billboard 200 charts. They had 2 hit singles, Got Me Going and I'ma Put It Down for Diddy and Young Jock. You can tell that all these bands and Donnie as a solo act, all of them had talent. After all the Making the Band story, all of them tried to create their own music, to regroup again and to try to do it on their own, but it didn't work out. If MTV decide to bring Making the Band back, don't bring new talents in, bring those bands in. We want to have the answers because that will help the ratings to get up again. Let's not play around the bush. We want Danity Kane, all members back, Day 26, the band, Donnie Klang back. So many things happened that were never resolved. And if you want the season to be great, you need to bring Diddy back and let him face those situations. I personally think that all these bands need Diddy to become great again, because you can say whatever you want about this man, but when it comes to music, when it comes to live performance, when it comes to marketing, this man is a genius. Another thing is he understands those bands better than anyone else because he put them together and he know why he made those decisions, why he put, for example, Andrea and D Woods in a band. He heard something that nobody else heard. He knew why he wanted Shannon in the band. He knew why he put, for example, Chopper and Babs in a band. I just want to see those bands come together, fussing, talking about the things that happened in the past, let some tears fall down, have a reconciliation, rebuild a new and a better sisterhood, brotherhood, familyhood than ever before, and then figure out how to make this money together. Look at all these 90s bands coming back together because they know we are stronger together than apart. Escape, SWV, and Vogue, even the Fugees. I mean, they don't need to come together because they are making a lot of money individually, but from time to time you see even them perform together. If MTV decide to bring something like that back, they need to do something like a huge Making the Band reunion tour where you have maybe a Donnie Klang start and then you have the band, and then Day 26 comes out and Danity Kane end the show. Danity Kane is super important for the Making the Band franchise. I'm saying that and I'm gonna keep saying that over and over again, and I don't think Danity Kane is strong as 4, as 3. You need all 5 members to make Danity Kane what it is, because that's the strong point of the group, to have all 5 members there. Whatever happened between them 5, they need to make peace with that. They need to rebuild a new sisterhood, a new trust. They need to have a real talking moment and then let it forever and ever go, because the picture, they need to see the bigger picture. A lot of acts are doing now more money than at the time where they were charting on the Billboard charts. I really hope that MTV gives Making the Band a chance again, because we want to see that show and we want to see those bands. They brought something special to the reality show format. If Jersey Show works, why this show wouldn't work, you know? But they need to put the focus more on the music, on the artistry, because that's what made Making the Band at first so special. We don't want Making the Band to be the next Jersey Show or Jersey Show Holidays or something like that. Those are talented people. Put the focus on the talent and nothing else. And nobody wants to see how Diddy create a new group, because we all know how it starts and how he finished this thing. I hope you liked the video. Leave me a thumb up, comment, subscribe to not miss any other videos. Bye.